Boys, girls, ladies, gentlemen, children of all ages, which I presume most of you probably still are, welcome back to week 1 of MLS Season 7. Game 2, we've just finished SMS GGG in a really exciting opener, which had some classically MLS style play. We're straight into now We Don't Live in Medway versus PNS.
Yep.
Go on, Top Virus, give me some.
I know these guys from We Don't Live in Medway. I was very nearly on their team. So a lot of these bands are very much target bands. Last game, I know for a fact that We Don't Live in Medway support Kiwi played Yumi and went like 0, 1 and 20 something. So that's immediately banned away. And TJ's very much loves playing the Silas, and Whisper very much loves playing the Vane. So all very much banned away as the Kiana, Nautilus and Ash. A fairly target heavy band again, but Leona locked in. We saw it in the last game. Not to the greatest success, but overall it's still an incredibly strong pick. But the immediate counter of Morgana comes in. Of course, that could be flexed to mid. It's very unlikely, but it was played in the jungle long ago, but has been heavily nerfed since then. But still, I've seen it on rare occasion. And it's going to be the Shen lock-in, so looking to play away from that top lane and try and enable the other lanes, unless of course it's a River Shen. Unlikely, but you never know. And as I said, I've filled for We Don't Live in Medway a few times, so they can, for just scrims and just flex queue and stuff to play together, and I know their top lane is quite a good Trundle player, so expect that in the top lane here from these guys, which obviously is a great answer into the Shen stealing those stats away. And of course the Caitlyn we saw in the last game to pick to great effect, looking like it's going to be picked up here, and I know Whisper has been putting a little bit of practice onto that because of how strong it is right now.
For the Vane ban,
Yes.
you say that the... Okay. I think got these right around.
It's going to be the Jhin. No, Whisper's most played champion is Vane.
Okay. I was a little surprised because it's
100% targeted at him.
I was interested because it's also Meatball's most played champ, I think. But clearly comfortable to ban it away and pick something else himself. I think his next played is probably Ash or... I was going to say Ash or Jhin. Yeah. It's almost as though I'm watching pick bans.
Yep. Leona Jhin, very, very potent lane, and if you miss position once against that, they will blow you up. Even if you can't be CC locked thanks to that black shield, it's still just a lot of damage. And in comes the Misfortune. You know, Morgana bind into a Misfortune is a potential kill, and no big Brom shield to block it this time. As the Garen ban hover seems a weird one. I guess they're hoping this Trundle's not going into the top lane, but as I said, little inside information that it probably is.
I guess Chris Broad's been spamming that Garen for the last few games.
Yeah,
as far as his match history
he
goes.
Definitely is a Trundle player. As I said, I've played with all of these guys and filled different roles for when they needed it, and they are a good team, and honestly, I'm expecting good things from them. I know they scrimmed Steadfast Gaming, who obviously were incredibly strong last season, and after the second game and second defeat from Steadfast, they decided they didn't want to play anymore. And there's TJ Zanivia that he's been playing quite a lot of as well, meaning I expect TJ to probably default to the Lux here unless PNS pick it up for themselves, as that's normally his other go-to.
Can you give any insight on the Zanivia ban? I mean,
as I just said, TJ plays Anivia.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
It's one of his three big champions, generally speaking, are Silas, Anivia, and Lux. So that are three of his go-tos. So I wouldn't be surprised to see those three banned against him most games.
Okay. So second round of picks now for PNS. We'll see what they round out with.
He also went 6-0 and 11 in their last game on Anivia as well. So it's going to be the Brom, so it looks like the Morgana is going in that mid lane, or of course, potentially that jungle.
Yeah. Jungle Morgana is viable. It's not common.
It was viable. It's not so viable anymore, but I've seen it once or twice, and there's the Lux that I mentioned and assumed would come in. from TJ, and it just means the jungle pick up, and I wouldn't be surprised to see something like the Jarvan come in. I think it's a pretty solid pick, especially into things like Morgana and Misfortune, who obviously have no way out of it, but it's going to be the Vi potentially. I think Vi's another strong one, although I'm not the biggest fan of picking Vi into a Black Shield. But
Yeah.
and especially with them Brom able to jump on them and block any more incoming damage. Although the Brom shield does not block the Lux ult, don't forget, because it's a beam as opposed to a projectile. And in comes Victor. Victor, I wouldn't be surprised to see in the pick or ban almost every single game somewhere on the lobby. So I think both teams' drafts are quite interesting, and it could be a Victor top actually, and a Shen jungle, just as a thing to consider.
Could go anywhere, couldn't it?
I wouldn't be entirely surprised to see that either. It'll be interesting to see where they go with it, because I think if you do take the Morgana into the jungle, it's very, very exploitable early on. You know, a Vive getting in the face of a Morgana could be a real problem. Especially with, you know, a Caitlyn lane, of course, going to have that early priority. A Lux into the Victor. It's kind of 50-50, and Trundle, if it is into the Shen, is certainly going to have priority in that lane. But it'll be interesting to see exactly what goes where. And as I said, there's the Trundle top. Chris Broad has been playing that a lot, and winning lanes you should never win because it's so strong. And it is going to be the Shen top and the Morgana jungle. So, a little surprising to see.
I guess that makes the mid lane slightly spicier, because otherwise that mid lane's looking pretty boring. I mean, it's very.
I mean, it's not Lux versus Victor; it's Wave Clear versus Wave Clear.
Yeah.
The big one for me here is I'm a little surprised to see, of all things, the Misfortune locked in. When you've got a Shen, you've got a Morgana, it means you can take a really like scaling hypercarry. You know, the Vayne was banned away, of course. But there are other picks as well. You know, you've got
you've got something like
you've got things like the Caitlyn, the Jinx are both really, really high priority for a lot of people right now. Even something like a Twitch, you could argue, or a Aphelios could have been pretty powerful here for very similar reasons. You know, you've got a lot of enable for them.
Yeah, I guess all of those are fairly scary things to take into a Vi, but I mean, a Misfortune isn't.
That's what the Black Shield's for.
Any less scary? Yeah.
And then the Shen ult on top. So I'm a little. It seems a slightly strange one not to take a bit more of a. I want to say a basic attacker as opposed to an ability user. Of course, Misfortune will basic attack a lot in a fight, especially if we see the crit build or things like the Gale Force like we saw last game, which I wouldn't be surprised to see either the Kraken Slayer or the Gale Force come out this game, and be a little bit surprised to see anything else.
I mean, how do you feel about PNS's damage output overall? Because
Victor can put out crazy numbers.
Yeah.
We know just how strong the champion. Misfortune can put out really, really high numbers. If you've ever laned against a Shen early on, he is an assassin. You will not convince me otherwise. Shen's damage is ridiculously strong.
Early game Shen is definitely nuts. I don't think anyone who's watched
anyone who's played League of Legends.
Yeah. But that Morgana in the jungle, I mean, obviously she's put out a bit, but I mean she's not going to be blowing anyone up. Especially coming out of the jungle. What do you think jungle Morgana really gives you that some of the other junglers don't?
Morgana jungle has an incredibly fast clear, especially when it was incredibly strong. Her clear was way too quick because the passive would let the Tormented Soil or whatever they changed the name of it to now, I can't remember, reset very, very quickly and clear. She has surprisingly strong ganks thanks to the binding, if you can hit it. I know it sounds obvious, but how long that keeps you crowd controlled for, it really does give you really strong gank potential, especially if you've got lanes that can set you up for it. You know, Shen's got the taunt, Brom's got the slows, the knock up, the stun potential. Misfortune's got the slow as well with the Make It Rain. Victor has got the slow and stun on his gravity field, along with once the gravity field's upgraded, all of his abilities have a very small slow on them. So it's not like that. There is good setup for a Morgana here, but I'd rather have seen Diana, which got buffed on this patch. I think is going to be a pick very much to watch out for. I think something like Talon, which of course is incredibly strong, that even a Nidalee might have been a better choice here. Morgana seems like a very, very strange go-to unless you really, really wanted that black shield.
Yeah. And you weren't, as you said, you're not desperate for the CC, for the ganks, because you already have decent setup. All you really needed was the high damage for that Shen ganks and the...
Which then makes me go back to, if you want the black shield, you want the stand united, why not go for a bit more of a hyper carry as opposed to the Misfortune who... You know, don't get me wrong, Misfortune's incredibly strong and can put out really high damage numbers, but maybe some of that scale's a little bit better might have been the choice. But at the same time, you're against a Jin Leona, you need a strong lane yourself, because Jin Leona is an incredibly strong lane, and We Don't Live in Medway will play around this bot lane quite heavily a lot of the time, because Whisper is a huge carry for them. This guy is incredibly good as an AD carry. You know, he owns a esports team, Parthenax Esports, and started as the starting AD carry when they first before they became Parthenax, which is a rebrand for them. He was their starting AD carry for a long time, and when he was like truly no-lifing the game sort of thing, and since then has chilled out, plays other stuff, and doesn't play as much, and is not at that level anymore.
Yeah, so, I mean, it'll be fun to see, because, I mean, Meatballs is no pushover. Meatballs has been not a super long MLS veteran at this point, but he's been in a few years, of course. PNS...
He's been in here longer than I have.
PNS is basically the same team as last year, minus Wolfie, plus, I believe, a Strawberry, I think is the new player. I think. So don't quote me on that. Someone in chat, I'm sure, will help me remind me who the new incoming player is.
Someone will, or we'll just forget and move on from that.
Well, if only it was that easy to forget Wolfie.
I mean, his performance wasn't the most memorable. I'm sorry, Wolfie. It was too easy.
Yeah, but
anyway,
I mean, Meatballs was our CS leader last year.
Yes.
Overall,
Meatballs is a very, very good player. There is no doubt about it. As we see the longsword free start from, and again the press the attack. So we're not looking at that lethality build, but level 1 here from the Nan Shakers is very, very strong, and level 1 in return from Medway is nothing to slouch at either. You know, Jin, Leona, and Lux are really damn strong level 1, and so is Trundle. Especially with that lethal
going
tempo.
Q level 1 though, right?
It's not the end of the world for the clear because you get a leash still.
Yeah.
It's obviously not ideal, but as recall comes in, and it looks like the late invade coming in here for
yeah,
PNS.
We'll see. They might catch
as Whisper is in a lot of trouble. They see him, they're running. Q lands, but the Luxie comes in.
Ooh, the flash comes through, and I don't know how Leona didn't get tagged by that Morgwine at the end there.
It turned out he did not need to flash that in the end. He was behind the Leona, so wouldn't have got tagged by that.
I mean, it's still insane that that went through the Morgana, right? Swear to God.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, that looked like it should have hit Leona, and I think the chat right now is, how did that not hit me? Nice little catch from TJ to start off the lane. You got assert dominance. First damage, bigger stick. That's the rule, isn't it? As double ward, so they absolutely know where Look the Grump is starting, which is, by the way, a great name. As a little bit of trading, a little bit of farming, you kind of know what you're in for early on. Shen going to be a little late to lane.
Yeah.
Because of staying early on for that invade, as DJ misses everything. That's a little unfortunate, but it happens, you know.
Chris
You miss every skill shot you don't throw out.
Chris picks up 5 out of 6 in the top lane, so 5 CS is the deficit. Nichan is going to be behind in that top lane. Yeah, unfortunately that was the cost of sticking around long enough for the for the wart and the level 1, but that's a lot of poke.
Yeah, Trundle really strong early on, able to steal that AD with the chomp and the auto reset. With it, you can do a surprising amount of burst, and lethal tempo means he can chase you down and attack you from a million range, and it feels really bad. This lane is only going to get worse for this Shen as this game goes on. However, of course, we'll have the advantage as the game goes on with the global ultimate, as opposed to Trundle having to either walk or teleport in himself. So, you know, Shen wants to trade with that grass, try and get the grass procs all he can, as cheeky little Q grenade lands on meatballs. There's not a huge amount happening other than, well, Trundle doing Trundle things, really. But it's got to be a little careful, because pushing in, Morgana's already on the final camp, whereas Vi is on the blue, still got the gromp to go if she chooses to full clear. It looks like Morgana's not looking for that gank, and it looks like they're going to look for this top crab with priority. Of course, crab got changed in the pre-season. Not quite as important as it used to be. You know, the XP it gives is a lot lower, the gold it gives is lower for the first one. As Morgana gets it with the pull, that's a huge mistake here, honestly, with the amount of time they invested there.
Yeah,
it's going to mean a double crab as well.
Vi was in a little bit of an awkward spot because Victor had the push in the mid lane, and so could roam first, and she didn't want the crab going all the way over there where Victor had a chance to steal it, so she pushed it back the other way, and unfortunately that put it straight back through the Morgana pool.
Yep, I think they should have controlled the crab better early on, is the big thing there. They should have pushed it up from the beginning rather than down. But, you know, you learn from your mistakes. As the gank in the bot lane, the Whisper is in a lot of trouble.
Morgana's going to be here first. Waits for the... Nicely done waiting for the Braum Q. I think Morgana was waiting for the Q, and in the end it just wasn't necessary. I don't think Morgana threw out a binding there.
She threw it out right at the last second on the Leona.
I think it was just for damage, really, wasn't
good
it?
flash.
Yeah, flash Q in from 5. Victor's going to be going down. Gets the stun out, but unfortunately too late to save him. Holds onto his own flash, though, so there's not going to be like an easy repeat gank for the Vi, or at least no easier than a Lux Vi gank would normally be. Flash down on Vi as well, so it's not really a repeatable thing. Teleport in from Victor means he's not going to lose too much.
No, of course not, but it's a lot of pressure. It's a teleport down. Of course, you can only teleport to your allied towers within the first 14 minutes until you get teleport unchained, I believe it's now called, or something similar to that.
Unleashed, I think.
That's it. Thank you. But Jhin, a little unfortunate to die in that bot lane because he lost that flash early on. Really nicely timed gank from Morgana. Really well played by PNS as well to just basically walk at them and force it out. But, you know, having played with Medway a fair bit, if there's not a little bit of inting early on, you're not doing it right. That is the rule. It's a really nice little zoning singularity there from Lux. Just to force Victor to be that bit of a nuisance and walk a long way.
Both top laners sitting on TP. Probably our first one going to be used. Or not. Shen looks like he's going to choose to walk back to lane. So both top laners holding on to their TPs. It almost makes you think that maybe Nichan would have been better suited TPing up level 1. But
you need to change your screen.
Oh god. We haven't had the in-game the entire time. I forgot about that. I'm bad at this. So it's a good job we've been commentating this well, because otherwise no one would know what's going on because I'm bad. And I can't have the chat up on... I'd need a third screen to have it on, and I don't have one at the moment. So, whoops. That was always going to happen at least once. It won't happen for the rest of the time, because hopefully I won't have to stream it each time. But, hey-ho. As we see, more trading happening here, and I'm a little surprised that it took that long for someone to tell me. But, hey-ho, these things.
Oh, big wave into the top lane. Vi, unfortunately, bottom side, not going to be there to kind of dive this. Always rough diving a Shen anyway.
Yeah, it's a little dangerous to dive the Shen. It's a huge CS league growing in top lane now. It's already 20 CS.
We'll see how much the Shen can pick up. Of course, level 6 now, has access to his ultimate. Vi picks up the red buff and now is going to be looking around that bot side, trying to set up some Drake control. Morgana also around in the area, though, picks up her own blue buff. So, I guess the danger is Trundle on TP. In a TP trade, Shen does end up ahead, but now in the bot lane, Leona gets the first Zenith Blade out, but only hits Braum. The root hits him, does hit, does get through. I thought it hit him to start with, but now the chains from Morgana pick up the stun onto Leona. A 1-for-0 in the bot lane, and that's going to give them Drake control.
Yep, the Shen ult comes in, so bot lane absolutely win the fight. They, unfortunately, Kiwi on this Leona takes a few steps too far forward. They try and force a little bit too hard in bot lane, and it gets turned around. First dragon, not the end of the world to give up a dragon, although quite a powerful dragon, it has to be said. You know, 5 ability haste and 5% attack speed is going to make a difference. You know, something like a Trundle would definitely love that bonus attack speed early on, and of course, Jhin would gain a small amount of AD from it, so it's not great for him.
Bot lane for PNS going to back now. Misfortune sitting on just shy of 1,500 gold.
It's enough to finish the either the Kraken or the Gale Force, which is going to be that Kraken Slayer, which I'm not surprised to see. I think generally speaking, it's the better option or the best option for Misfortune. If you're going a Noon Quiver item in the first place, you know, you could argue lethality is better in some situations, but this one it's not.
No, I do agree with this. Trundle, Vi, Leona, they're the ones who are going to be in your range primarily, especially with decent zoning.
The only argument there is if you're lethality, you could build a what's it called? The Edge of Night, which would be quite useful this game, but I'm not sure you want this fight, Trundle. Not Trundle.
Yeah.
Shen taunted in and realised what a mistake it may have been.
Oh, that's the burn ticking, and damn, 1v1 just straight down. Burns the flash as well. Both do. Morgana now meets Vi in the jungle. Also trying to take the fight. Black Shield stops the ult doing any kind of CC, but not stun. The stun through now, and Victor's there in time. He's TP'd up. It's going to be Vi going down.
The comet!
No! The comet comes in at the last second. Morgana couldn't decide whether to dive right or left, and in the end ends up bang in the middle, sniped from the tippity tip of that laser.
Oh, I've had laughing in chat about that one. I can tell you that now, because you know you would be. As tell you what,
in the end, 2-for-1 up there.
It was a little bit sad watching Vi try and stay on top of Morgana, and Morgana's just like, no, no, no.
Yeah, rather not.
No. Yeah. And now you're dead. Because Morgana running that Glacial Augment as well, so if lands a CC, got those slowing zones as well, and really obnoxious. But even with all this action in bot lane and, you know, Misfortune up 3 kills, Jhin is up in farm. Not a huge amount, but is up in farm. It's quite impressive to see. TJ in mid lane on this Lux, up in farm. Trundle up massively in farm.
Yeah. Once again, a huge wave being pushed into the Shen.
That very much down in farm for the jungle, but I did say at the start just how powerful the clear from Morgana is. As Morgana
once
gets
again, smited away.
You hate to see it. You hate to see it if you're a fan of Not From Medway, which they're not going to have many yet because, you know, they are the new team to the MLS this year. Partly on my recommendation, great catch.
That's just a CC chain in, but the lovely cleanse out from Misfortune as well. Going to get the bullet time. The ultimate from Braum keeps her in it. That's a nice turnaround from the PNS bot lane.
Yep, this Braum pick is so damn good into a lot of these melee supports. But
nice tag on the Q.
The ult is up.
Does have a flash as well. Having to go away in the last second. She's going to get stunned up, and now once more gone down too. Braum passive applied onto this Jhin. He dodges the Q though. That was important.
He's got the ult as well, so he could turn this around.
He could. Braum's going to have shield up again soonish, probably before the full shot comes out, most likely. Now Shen, once again, getting just taken on by this Trundle. Thankfully, he's the right side of the pillar at the last moment this time. Otherwise, he was probably going down, realistically.
But all in all, excuse me, this bot lane is not going well. It has to be said for from Medway. But if you look at their solo lanes, you know, Lux is 2-0-0, Trundle is 1-0-0, and is already 50 CS up nearly. You know, it's one of those games where it looks like they're not going to play through bot lane particularly. But Jhin, very good utility in the roots and the ult, of course. So hugely long range. So not ideal, but certainly not the end of the world for him.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's only just over 200 gold. 200 gold lead. Yeah.
Yep.
Just over a 200 gold lead. A lot of that's actually from the Lux getting 3 plates in that mid lane. That's going to be a good 400 or 500 gold there. I think
running
Leon
it down
is
again.
probably going down. Yes. That's a lot of damage already coming out from the Misfortune. That double up damage is tasty.
Yep.
I saw it do about 250 earlier on to the Jhin.
Yeah, his Dragon number 2 is going to go in favour here. But Shen taunts in, and we've seen how this goes, buddy. This is not smart. You are not winning this.
No.
As Trundle was getting a giga minion block there, by the way. That was not fun.
I mean, Chan may have... I thought maybe he had torn up sooner than he did. In which case he had a small chance.
It was purely
but...
the minion block there, stopping that lasting a lot less time than it should have.
Yeah.
First items coming in for a lot of people here as... Oh, Whisper, that looked like it hurt.
Jeez. He's coming on the backside. Braum manages to block the first damage. That's the chain coming through, though, and no cleanse available for the Misfortune this time. Lux is above. There's no help coming. Victor tries to TP up to the top lane. Not TP up to the top lane, just walk there, in fact, to try and get some revenge for Shen, but unfortunately nothing doing there. Imni-chan, probably it's time to just chill out. Take what farm you can get and play for the ult.
Stop fighting the Trundle. You're not going to win, buddy. As we finally see a successful gank in this bot lane, and it's honestly about time. They've tried and forced. Whisper takes a huge trade, but then the collapse comes in. And everyone appears, and there is no way out. Big shutdown went over. Who's the big shutdown go to? Went to the Leona. That's not ideal. That's very unlucky. You'd like that to have gone to literally anyone else. But Leona with gold, certainly no slouch, of course.
Yeah.
Trundle's like, hey. Trundle has 3 levels, by the way, on this Shen. There's 3 people coming up to him, but honestly, I don't know if he loses this.
Mine's just paused again. Okay, cool. Shen's going to taunt through about as well as he could do. Flash is nearly away, and that's a long club right there. In below, thought maybe she could help out, but chooses to go in the opposite direction. I think that's almost certainly the correct choice there.
Yep, but in a 3 versus 1, the Trundle still picks up a kill because Shen goes in a little bit too early, a little bit too careless, and whoops.
Yeah.
Shutdown comes in as Fortune could be in trouble here. And so could Victor.
Yeah, Victor caught from the only Q, has to flash away, but that's not going to be enough. Tries to turn it back onto the Jhin. A half-decent attempt, but unfortunately not enough in the end. Morgana misses the binding, and that might cost her mid laner his life, bot laner. But in the end, too many people around, goes down too quickly, and Misfortune has too much damage. Yeah.
And yeah, this it has to be said. Apparently, looking to gromp this game is not going well. So TJ dodges the binding, flashes out, should be okay here, but gets tagged, and I'm wrong.
Bullet time, just a little wide. Gets caught up. He's going down for certain. Will he take anyone down with him? Don't think so. Misfortune gets very low, and turret aggro is juggled. Is Shen going down? No. I mean, that magic shield wasn't going to save him from any damage there, but...
You need to fast forward a little bit because you are behind.
Yeah.
30, 31,
it did pause.
32.
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. It paused.
Yep. As second dragon did go down, which we failed to mention because there's been a lot of fighting going on all over the place. So we've got the Chemtech dragon. So that means you do a bit more damage to people with more max health than you. Which, if you're this Misfortune you're going to be quite happy with because you've got a Trundle and a Vi and a Leona all trying to get in your face this game. And of course means we have... What rift do we have? I can't quite... Is it mountain? I can't quite tell. Or is it cloud?
Let me take a little look-see. It is mountain.
It is mountain. I thought so. Oh, Vi comes in. Gets the smite as well.
Russian, did she pick up the Rift Herald itself?
Yep.
Yes, okay. It was just on cooldown, so I couldn't see what it was. Luck's going to go down as well, though. And now in the mid lane, go PNS. They're not going to have the Rift Herald. I don't think it's going to matter. They've got most of the people they need. Unfortunately, Misfortune is the one missing, who would be their primary damage source on this turret.
It's still going to go down, however. There's not enough people in time to defend, although it looks like they're going to try.
Yeah,
Here go.
Chaos Storm's down already. Leona manages to get a Zenith Blade onto the Shen. A nice ult through from Borm, though, is going to keep the Trundle in place. Leona has to flash her way out, which in itself is fairly big for these later team fights. Baron's going to be, well, 2 minutes away, but I don't think either of these teams are going to be looking for an early Baron. As ult comes out from Jhin, lands the first one, but I mean, this is against a Braum. But the Misfortune, we talked about it in our opening segment, Misfortune, the Braum ult doesn't stop at Lux ult. The Braum shield doesn't stop at Lux ult.
Nope, and sniped yet again. This Shed is having a really unfortunate time here. 3-4-3 though, you're certainly not a bad score, but
this
62
feels risky.
CS.
Oh, they've got the Vi though. Okay, that's a lot less risky now. If they can pick up Trundle just TPing in though. Unfortunately, I can't see any TPs on my screen. Braum goes down on the backside, just keeping that Jhin away, and they've traded out for the Trundle. So a 2-for-1 means that they can probably go for this Drake, but it's still not the safest thing in the world. Shen's late in. Yeah, however, Shen has ult though. It's worth knowing.
Lux ult is back up, and we know how easy it is to steal stuff with Lux ult, and that was damn close.
Ooh. Yeah, to be fair, it was a nice smite out from... that was nearly bang on 900. I didn't really see a lower number. I saw 950 out the corner of my eye.
Yep, Misfortune went quite low in that fight, though, and, you know, Lux is 5-2-1 here, so certainly pretty strong for himself. Jhin is, even though all this action bot lane, Jin's only died once, so 2-1-3 and up in farm, which is surprising to see. Just because he's up in farm does not mean he's up in gold on this Misfortune, and he is down by a decent chunk here. However, the mid gap in terms of gold and the top gap in terms of gold is becoming quite problematic. As both Trundle and Lux are starting to run away a little bit with gold here. Because, you know, 4 kills down, but they're upping gold by 300. So that's a lot with how this game's going.
Because it really is unfortunate that Shen's this far behind, because currently they have both TPs and the Shen ultimate as an advantage over no TPs on Medway, and if they had at least holding power, you can force some favorable team fights, but the fact that your Shen can't even stay in the same lane, and I mean, it's even nearly going in the realm of getting tower dove by this Trundle. You just can't really play the map as you want to.
Oh, this is going to be a big fight.
Trundle goes in, but it's a 3v2 to start with. No one else is coming in for Medway, so Trundle immediately goes down. The Rift Herald dropped, but that's not going to get a charge off, and that's a completely wasted Rift Herald.
Yep, that means that 2-for-1 fight over by the Herald and stealing it becomes a really bad fight overall, and it's going to be another tower here in favour of PNS.
Yeah, Victor coming in behind the lights, gets snared up, manages to land the laser beam first. Braum playing some really nice harassment there on the corner. As Victor trying to chase this Lux, I mean, he almost certainly wins it, flashes forwards, drops down the Chaos Storm, and now Lux having to run the wrong way towards the enemy turret, going to go into the bush, doesn't have any kind of quick back tech, so no real options here. And plenty of shield there. The Shen ultimate comes out as well, and so now they've got to make some choices about how they want to push. Misfortune caught on the far side. Cleanse is up, flashes first. Vi going to get caught. Now, Misfortune not going to be able to follow up on the Vi since the curtain call comes down. Keeping her out the side, has to back all the way out as she was so low. Two shots would have done her in.
Flash out from the Misfortune though, so overall, you're quite happy with how that went for you. You know, the Vial for the Misfortune flash is a pretty good cooldown trade here.
Yeah, it makes that cleanse worth a lot less, because Cleanse flashing is really strong for that Misfortune if she gets dove on, because suddenly she's the enemy team have blown all their CC and she's out of danger. Just using the cleanse doesn't really mean as much, because you're still going to get blown up by the Vi afterwards.
The only real protection now is it's still protection from long range Leona ult or a Jin W out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So it still definitely has its use, but certainly nowhere near as powerful as you were saying. There's a bit of a fight for vision at the moment as Trundle matching up against the Victor, and I'm pretty sure Victor doesn't particularly want that fight. I'm fairly sure Trundle will just run him down and kill him. As Luck's picking up the blue, quite happy, going to go collect that top wave. There's more vision being cleared out. No objectives for a little bit. Baron is of course up and available, but no team's going to just blindly start that at this point in the game. That would be quite careless, especially when you consider one team has a Jin, and the other team has a Shen. So the damage on it, not really the highest. But interesting to see where teams decide to go through to from here. Jin's now got himself up the Collector and Azil, so working towards that rapid fire. Lux has Ludens, the Horizon Focus, and that needlessly large rod, which we'll see if that goes into the hat or the Shadow Flame. Shen has finished an item. Congratulations. It's about time. But
Yeah.
a huge thing to note that hasn't been mentioned is there are 3 dragons taken here for PNS, so they are on Soul Point. Mountain Soul, incredibly powerful. That shield is so damn useful. It keeps you alive so much longer than people expect. As Brom is being a nuisance, trying to clear that ward, but might be a little bit too far on his own.
Misfortune has to burn her ult just to try and keep him alive. The shield comes through and he does manage to survive. Now the curtain call drops. We're watching Victor for some reason, but the real exciting bit is Jin gets caught out. I thought maybe there was going to be more damage following that than there ended up being. Does chunk him out to half health though, which is going to make this fight a little more interesting. Victor managing to run away, has the speed buff off the Q, means Trundle can't chase him up. And now 5 players from Medway in their first round the Dragon. 5 players from PNS, more scattered around the map. Brom's going to be in late, had to back after getting chunked. Shen has ult though, so I mean, it is effectively 4v4, so Victor far too far away, and Shen, that's not where you want to end up in the end, I think. 3v3, 3v5 even, and well, Shen manages to get out.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, the fall shot from Jin pierces his heart. And now 4v4 as Trundle's having to back. We'll see what happens here, whether Medway just start off this dragon and force them back.
So teleporting in is going to try and force this dragon. They have to take it here. They really can't let Morgana take the dragon as she's been doing with Crabs. So really zone her off.
Yeah, they do have a ward in there, but there's nothing really long range for them to steal with, especially since MF had already burnt the ult. No coming over that back wall. But any cheeky buggers there.
Yep. Good. Well defended there from Medway. They played that fight really nicely. They saw the Victor split from the team. Immediately burn everything onto him. The Shen ult isn't enough. In fact, it puts the Shen in a really bad place. And overall, really nicely played fight from them.
Yeah.
This Misfortune, who is 9-2-3, really wasn't able to get a huge amount done, even though she's got a lot of this gold on the team.
Yeah, unfortunately, having to blow her ult just to save the Braum before kind of those fights even started really hurt what kind of long-range zoning potential she had. Yeah.
Very, very suboptimal. And, as we say, nope. I respect the nope out from there as... you know, second item finished from this Trundle now. He's got that Titanic and the... I've just blanked on the name, Divine Sundra, so he's going to be a monster in these side lanes and a really good push pressure as Leona's going in.
Yeah, ult over the top. Misfortune does have an ultimate if she wants to use it, and there it comes out, bullet time. Leona's nearly going to be shredded down. In fact, will go down before anyone dies. Shen the next one down though. 4v4 is what we have currently on the board. Shen ultimate was available.
Ooh.
It's going to be missed without the stopwatch coming out from Morgana. Means she won't die to this ult immediately. Bullets taken between, but Misfortune gets caught by a Lux binding, and that's the end of her. It's now 4v3, and their main damage dealer out. Realistically, I mean, Victor's still got a fair amount of damage to put down, but they back away and they're going to look for the Baron as low health bars across the board. for PNS other than the Victor.
Yep, I think if you're a PNS here, you should probably give this up. You know, you might go for a cheeky steal from Morgana, but even that's a little risky to some degree, because there's still a lot of damage potential here from, not from Medway, as Vice getting a little low, however, but Trundle's now here to tank, and they know where everyone is, they're not even going to try and steal. And a really, really great team fight from Medway there. They get the pillar onto the Misfortune, immediately TJ flashes in on this Lux, gets the bind, and just blows her up. And as we said, you know, now 10-3-3, came out laning phase really strong, but the team fighting here has been absolutely on point in this last kind of 10 minutes or so not from Medway.
Yeah. PNS have been a little bit split up. It's mostly been positioning, to be honest, because I think even in that last fight, they probably had the power to at least have a go at taking the team fight, but the fact that they were split off, Meatballs is sitting a bit too far forwards, trying to push that mid wave in and create a bit of pressure, but doesn't respect the flash on Lux.
No, absolutely, and it was, as we said, a really great catch from them and a really big punish. And this is one of the things I learned while playing with them is, at this point in the game, they are so strong. They know exactly what to do here and how to do it. So the kind of mid-game is really dangerous because, as I said, if you're not inting a bit, they're doing it wrong, and therefore they know how to play with a lane and a deficit. So interesting to see how they try to push out with these Baron waves. Of course, Shen going to do his best to hold Trundle, but we know for a fact that that's a losing battle and only getting worse and worse. To
be honest, it's a little insane that they've not lost the top turret.
Ooh.
That's a lot of damage from Lux, though. As I say, that top turret goes down, and now Shen's going to have to run for the hills. Should still have a dash to get through that pillar, though, and get himself to safety. Yeah, he's going to be fine up there. Instead, in the mid lane, we've got some 4v4 looking in. Shen still has ult, but if he uses that, you got to think Trundle's going to get that top turret in about 5 seconds flat.
Oh, absolutely, and you know, they're being a little cautious here because Lux did get chunked out, but firing off that ult just for pressure again. And you know, this mid tower's nearly gone here. They'll be quite happy to get it, as Trundle's just going to ignore Shen best he can and pressure that tower, as the other four is going to keep going. But it's kind of awkward here because the Hydra will clear in the wave, is going to proc on Shen, getting aggro, and Shen's of course going to taunt him. So it's hard work pushing into the Shen, but certainly not impossible. But there is the mid tower. There is that pressure as Trundle goes to come back to Shen there, and pressure for this dragon. So because they've been pushing up for so long, because they've known where PNS have been, they know currently that there is not going to be wards behind them or in the area particularly, which is great. However, Trundle could be in a bit of trouble here, as it looks like he is getting collapsed on by a lot of people. However,
I think he knows this. He's just looking to try and get the turnaround, and may well get it. Shen no flash, manages to get the dash away, and he lives on the smallest of margins. That looked to be 30-40 health tops there. In the end, though, the Trundle does go down. No shutdown gold left.
However, 2 towers. Trundle was able to pick up on that push. Baron has now timed out, but Dragon, importantly, picked up. Mid-tier 2 pushed in as well. So overall, really positive, and the final outer tower as well. So hugely positive Baron push here, and has put them 4,000 gold in the lead. From a game that was so close, is now slowly starting to creep more and more in control of by Medway here.
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to... I've got the timers up, but they always hide themselves behind my mini-map. It's really annoying.
Yeah, I've given up trying to sort it. So, they're meant to be up, but...
I can tell you there's 4 minutes 30 left on on the red buff and 4 minutes 50 left on the blue buff, but that's it. After that, you're
I've just noticed the minimap cover is actually covering some of the minimap, and I can't do anything about it right now.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about it because if I minimise the game, it'll minimise it on the stream, and you won't be able to see what's going on. Not that you could for the first 7 or 8 minutes, but that's a different problem altogether. I will have to fix that for next week, because I found out I had to stream it. Well, I started sorting out the stream while I was trying to sort my dinner, and I didn't have time to sort it all because time constraints. Hey, we're not professional here, but we're nearly as good as NA's production, so you know.
We're getting there. I mean, we're pushing pretty close these days. Again, big thanks to Pandy. Oh, Morgana's gone down. Unfortunately, that Braum shield's in the wrong direction. You hate to see it. Doesn't seem to matter. He jumped to the side anyway, and now he's going to go down to the Lux as well. Vi coming down
He didn't jump to the
give him a
side, he was
nudge.
pushed to the side by Viol.
Oh, was that Vial?
Yep.
I mean, still, I mean...
What a catch. This is the problem against this team. That's another catch. So Leona may have ran it down a bit in the early game, but the Leona pick at this point in the game is really starting to pay off. As
Flash comes out from Vi to chase us down. Isn't going to get it, though.
Meanwhile, in the top lane...
Yeah, Victor's going to get to back. I think he's going to get to back. He's going to get spotted by the...
The Jhin is chasing here. The Jhin has a lot of damage. No, they're just leaving him. Fair enough.
Yeah. Oh no, misfortune!
Ouch.
That was unfortunate. Gets caught by an E that
Another
she wasn't
binding.
expecting. Yeah, binding even.
And that is inhibitor number 2. This split push has really paid off, and it's another Lux ult. Vi's in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, unfortunately she's got a lot of MR. And that Victor's just not really doing the damage to her that he needs to do. With MF gone, it does feel like they're limited in what they can do to the front line.
Yeah, unfortunately, with this Victor build of going Crown, then Zhonya's plus the Cosmic Drive doesn't have the highest of AP compared to some builds you see. Has picked himself up that Void stuff. You know, Trundle's got that Spirit Visage to really amp up the crazy healing numbers he does. As Baron has been started, but Vi's a long way away. But
yeah,
should be there in enough time.
Yeah, no Blast Cone, no Flash from Misfortune means that... Oh god.
Bye,
means
Bron.
that this is a losing proposition. They've got a pink one in the bush, and they've got... No, they don't have an MF ult. That wasn't... I mean, that wasn't a million miles away, but unfortunately Misfortune goes down. Shen's going to be going down soon too, trapped in the pit. I think Victor's going to be fine. Shen gets out.
Whisper's hunting though. Big
Yeah.
sidestep.
Unfortunately, can't sidestep that one. Now going to look to try and get the one tap onto Jhin. Doesn't manage to get it though. And at the end of the day, it's Misfortune and Shen, the ones left standing. Has the kill on Jhin, and I don't know.
Kiwi, I don't think you want that
fight.
No. Nope. But he's
just-
just scumbagging because they're just ending the game, and really little bit of a shaky early game, particularly from this bot lane, but closed out, or in the mid game, we're able to make the right picks and closed it out pretty cleanly overall.
Yeah, it felt like they were getting picked off a bit and losing the 1v1s and the 2v2s early game, and then come late game they just stuck together as a little death ball mostly, with Trundle on the side lane as needed, and just took those equal fights where PNS was split up.
Yep. So, well played to our new team, who are now 2-0 on the day, and of course the week, so good job for them. Commiserations to our losing teams today. But, you know, it happens. It's week 1. Mistakes have been made on the player's side and the streamer's side. You know, I cocked it up. But it happens.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't get the excuse of calling it a zoning ult.
I get the excuse of I haven't streamed anything for about 6 months and forgot to press a button. It's not even a button. I literally just have to make one click. It's really easy to forget a single click.
Yeah.
So, any thoughts on the teams we saw today?
So I know that SMS, one of our stronger teams on paper, I think it's 3 plats, a gold and a diamond or something, or maybe even 3 plats, 2 diamonds.
I can't remember.
So it was interesting for them to come out with such funky tactics. I was expecting more of a kind of by the book play from them and just try and outplay their opponents. So really interesting to see them go with some wacky strats, and it's actually got me feeling more hopeful for the league. I think it's going to be more amusing. And then this game too, you know, it's just good to see we don't live in Medway in action for the first time. They do look solid. I think they were. allowed to do some of the stuff they did because Shen was so far behind in the top lane. Meant that Trundle had a lot more free roam, and if their top lane had been a bit more even, I think that bot lane could have got more out of hand than it did.
But it was an early pick Shen, and things
Yeah.
like Trundle are very, very old school counters to it, but are
Yeah.
still around. So you've got to respect it. But
Yeah, of course.
But the thing is, it was picked away because last game, Chris took the Shen, so it was a takeaway pick as much as it was just a pick.
Yeah. No, yeah, it is just, even then, you shouldn't be falling that far behind in CS.
It's
really, at the end of the day.
It is a difficult one.
It's a rough one, but it just meant that We Don't Live in Medway really had that freedom to shine. They had plenty of map pressure, and at the end of the day, they really took the chances. You can't argue about that. It was clean from about 15 minutes onwards, 15, 20 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. But even so, like, PNS have showed that I'm really looking forward for that bot lane. I think everyone plays twice. So I'm looking forward to the rematch.
Everyone plays each other twice, so we will see a
Yeah.
rematch eventually. Whether it's on stream or not, who knows? But we shall see nearer the time. However, that is us done for week 1 of the MLS. It's good
Week
to be
1.
back.
Season 7. It's hard to believe we've been around for 7 years now. But,
I mean, I've been here for 1 and now on my 2nd year, so
I think it's my 6th.
damn.
Yeah, only
How
Craig and Tom.
unfortunate.
Crom is now trying to push.
For God's
We'll see if it catches on.
We'll see.
My guess is no, but
My guess is I don't think they have a choice.